Not to keep beating the dead horse that is Highguard, but I once again tweeted something completely obvious and harmless, and it ended up getting a ton of people yelling at me for some reason. So rather than line you all up and write a bunch of words that you probably won't be able to read, I'm going to line you all up and make fun of you en masse for YouTube content. So as I'm sure many of you are aware, the developers of Highguard have been playing a pathetic game of gamer blaming, pointing the finger at absolutely anything but the dog shit game they pushed out the door. And the most common line that seems to be used here is something along the lines of, yeah, no, this game totally would have been a big success if not for the Steam review bombers. And I need to make a few distinctions here. First of all, there is a major difference between review bombing and genuinely negative reviews. I'm not denying that some review bombing happened with Highguard to some degree, but you also can't deny that this game was riddled with things that were legitimately deserving of negative reviews. It was a technical mess, it was boring, it was unoriginal, it was unoptimized, and it was aggressively monetized on top of all those things. If I leave a negative review because of those aspects, that's not review bombing. That's the game getting a negative review. And if you look through the Steam reviews, you'll see a lot of legitimately negative reviews. In fact, you'll see more legitimately negative reviews than you'll see legitimately positive ones. That's not review bombing, that's the game not being good. Second of all, the game flopped on console as well, so you can't blame Steam for your entire multi-platform game flopping. There's plenty of multi-platform games that underperform on one or two platforms, but then still survive perfectly well on the remaining platforms. Highguard was released everywhere and flopped everywhere. You can't blame Steam reviews for that. Third of all, there are tons of games that get absolutely destroyed in the Steam user reviews, both legitimately and because of review bombing, and yet they survive perfectly well. Negative Steam reviews are not a death sentence for a game on Steam, as much as the failed developers would like to say that they are. What about DayZ? What about Overwatch or PUBG? These games that have been absolutely annihilated in user reviews throughout their life cycles, and yet they persist. You can't blame negative Steam reviews on your game's failure, especially when you come out the door swinging with almost 100,000 concurrent players on Steam. Those players would have stuck around and kept the player counts consistent if the game was worth playing, but instead, the Steam charts look like this because the game was not worth playing. Highguard lost basically everyone who tried it. That's not the fault of Steam reviews, that's the fault of the game. So after I saw this tweet about the developers trying to pass the blame onto the gamers, I quote tweeted with what I thought was a very obvious opinion. Quote, I resent this idea that review bombing killed Highguard. You managed to get almost 100,000 concurrent players on day one on one platform. If the game was worth playing, those players would have stuck around. The game was not worth playing, so they didn't. And would you fucking believe that the internet is still trying to run interference for Highguard? Would you fucking believe that people are yelling at me for pointing out that maybe the game failed because it wasn't worthy of succeeding? I can't believe this. Where was all this defense of Highguard when the devs actually needed it? Like, you guys defend Highguard all you want now, but none of you were actually inhabiting the servers. So let's just look through my responses and see why I'm the worst person ever, because I don't think a failure of a game deserves success just because the devs wanted it to be successful. Let's see why I'm the worst person ever, because I can acknowledge the fact that if you make a game nobody wants, nobody's going to play it. Christina says, you got abused for even saying anything positive about the game for months before and in the month following. It never stood a chance. Okay, first of all, it didn't last a month, so I don't know what you're talking about by a month following. But second of all, and more importantly, what do you mean you got abused for saying positive things? You got abused? How does that even work? You can't be abused over the internet for liking a game. Are you talking about people roasting you? Because there's a couple ways to avoid that. You could avoid being roasted by just not having bad opinions, but also, even if your opinions were perfectly sound and people were yelling at you over the internet for it, ignore them. Move on. It's not abuse if you can just turn your phone off and it's gone. What are you even talking about? Irby says, nah, dude, the vibes were off. They went into the game with a bad taste in their mouth and the game's mouthwash just wasn't strong enough. Without that bad taste, it might have been fine. Vibes meant a lot. Have you ever considered that maybe the game was the problem, not the vibes? And that maybe the vibes around the game were so negative because of the game? Like, are we really trying to absolve the game of all responsibility for what it was? If the game looked cool and the game looked better, the vibes wouldn't have been off. The game looked like trash, so the vibes were off. But it's not the fault of the game, it's the fault of the vibes. Yeah, and where'd the vibes come from? Like, what? Also, I say it again, if the game was good, it would have overcome the bad vibes. I point to Marvel Rivals. Marvel Rivals was getting roasted across the internet after it was revealed, and then it comes out, and it proves people wrong, because a bunch of people come out and try it, and they end up finding that the game is actually quite good. That's why the Steam chart numbers are important here. Who cares about the vibes when you squander literally hundreds of thousands of potential customers? Dead Not Sleeping says, you assume that those people were playing the game in good faith. I think the amount of sub 1 hour negative reviews suggest that was not the case. A couple things wrong here. First of all, you assume they're playing in good faith. You assume they're playing in bad faith. Why am I not allowed to assume, but you are allowed to assume? That's not how this works. But second of all, it doesn't take a full hour sometimes to see if a game is worth your time or not. Highguard was a technical mess. It doesn't take a full hour to see a game is a technical mess. It was optimized terribly. Motion blur was force enabled. It doesn't take a full hour for me to notice that. This is what I mean when I say people are being disingenuous when they say the game was review bombed. Maybe the problems with the game were so obvious that you didn't need that much time to notice them. Like, is it so unfathomable that I don't need a complete hour to find legitimate problems with a game? Especially problems that are this obvious? You get on my case for assuming players were playing in good faith, but they couldn't have been playing in good faith. Why not? Genuinely, why not? I could boot this game up in good faith and in less than an hour have tons of objective problems with it. Rich Booth says thousands reviewed after less than 15 minutes of play. The tutorial takes longer than that. Okay, let's take this at face value. Thousands reviewed after less than 15 minutes of play. All right, and there were even more thousands reviewed after 15 minutes of play, and those reviews were still negative. Like, what's the point? Thousands of reviewed after 15 minutes of play. Cool. The Steam charts still look like this. They still were not able to retain anybody who tried the game. Why are we focusing on the ones with less than 15 minutes of time? Those people were the minority. You could remove them from the pool entirely and this game still would have flopped. Like, I say it again, this was a multi-platform game. We can't blame the minority of Steam user review leavers for the failure of the entire game on every platform. That makes no sense. Mr. Bunch of Emojis says those people who contributed to the 100K only played 1 hour or less of the game, hence why it had a huge drop off. Common sense would help you out a lot. That doesn't make sense though. That doesn't make sense though. Like, again, you could remove those reviewers from the situation entirely. The game still would have flopped. The server still would have dried up. Like, the people who weren't just, they played 1 hour or less to leave a negative review and then they left. Okay, then explain this. Like, nobody stuck with this game. Nobody did. And also, again, what do you have to say about the people who left negative reviews after more than 1 hour? All these excuses, it's so strange. What do you get out of this? And where were you when the devs actually needed you on the servers? Kind says, well, most of the 100K don't have over an hour on the game, and when the game released, they were stuck in a queue time and struggled getting to the main menu due to how many people tried playing at once. So yes, majority of the people left during the queue to get into review bomb. Okay, aside from the fact that that is not true, there's also the fact that you just breezed right by the point. You literally just admitted that there was a legitimate problem that you could experience in less than an hour of in-game time. Like, well, I mean, most of those people that left negative reviews with just an hour of playtime, I mean, can you take them seriously? I mean, all that happened was they experienced a major problem within 1 hour of playtime. Like, they booted the game and experienced a major problem within an hour of playtime. You can't take their criticism seriously, even though I just acknowledged that an hour is more than enough time to have a major problem with this game. Like, what? Moss says, look at the reviews, 50% of negative are under 15 minutes. That's the tutorial length. Launch hour had queue time issues as well. Those people didn't play. They were in it long enough to leave a negative review. Like the game or not, that's up to you. I don't care, but that's a literal fact. Why are you denying it? 50K negative reviews under 15 minutes. You remove them, the game goes to a positive rating. First of all, that's not true. That's not how the positive mixed negative distribution works on Steam. Second of all, you also acknowledge the fact that you could have legitimate problems with the game in the time that it took to write the negative review. So that's not a review bomb, that is a legitimately negative review. And also, okay, there were queue time problems. I tried the game, I couldn't get in, I left a negative review, I left. Why didn't I come back to the game? Like, think about that. You're saying that we need to write off these people's criticism because it was just a queue time issue. Well, why didn't they come back when the queue times were fixed? Maybe because the game had deeper issues than that, and it didn't take an entire hour to find those issues? If all the negative reviews with short play times were just because of technical issues, why didn't any of those people bother to come back? Maybe because the game had more problems than just the technical issues. Why are we doing gymnastics for this game? I think the devs would have appreciated these gymnastics like 2 weeks ago. Actually, I think the devs would have appreciated if you didn't do these gymnastics and just got on the fucking servers. But nobody did that because the game wasn't good. My gosh, like, I don't mean to beat the Highguard horse. I really don't. But it's just, it's the gift that keeps giving for me. I don't understand. What is it about this game that caused all these people to come out and start defending it after it was too late? Like you weren't even interested enough to go play it yourself. Because just nobody played it. Is it just a general, like, contempt for gamers? That's the only reason I can think of that we would be doing this. Like, why does it matter to you? Stop. It makes no sense. I'm doing the Doofus Club now because I have some self-restraint, and I'm going to stop talking about this unless something else stupid comes up and I have to make another video about it. What's this? Article from PC Gamer called Highguard didn't flop. Okay, I'm breaking out the screenshot button. We'll talk about that in a few days. Doofus Club time. The Gamer 127YT, Grizz Void, Jake Spider Monkey 1994, hashtag Hillbilly Vanilli, Floppy Pigs 97, Hyperactive Turtle Cards, Game of the Day People, Nate Grimsey, Official Dregs, Murder of the Tarded legalized. What? Google the harpeggi. It's an amazing instrument. I'm so tired. Blast 1340, Mayo Setsuna, Biscuit 1101, West of Rex, Hentai 006, Slick, Flick, Click, 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 Flick, Slick, Slick, Flicks on Blu-ray discs, Delta 169, Baron von Arnholm, Unicorn Rocco, Coach Fan 2005, Bullet 310, Char AI, Slop Mixing Microsoft, Kushka, Doug, NXT Smile, Dirty Mike and the Boys, Vast Dennis, Das Venice, Stole My 9 Dozen Eggs, Joe Get, and Max from Luigi Gaming, It's a Hard Knock Life, Nice Dude, One Man Savage, No Payoff, Vector, Potato Archery, Mechanical Resonance, Sick Nick, Matt Fox 94, Exchange Induction, Bear, Brainstork, Rider, Broken Crown, Pro Off the Wrecking, Just Took an Epic Tim and Wiped My Sweeney, Vast Dennis, Muskie, Big Fudge and the Boys. It's not there anymore, Joe. You suck. Click to playing on a Jojo 6, Molting Really, Zerd, Oracle, Jimmy Chops, Master Killer, Tom Snorlax, and Unknown 8718. But they said Highguard does not mean many players. Edge Bear 789, Better Fonducci, Drain Rise, Nerd on for Law, High Partial Main 8, Vox Auto, Snake Ice 227, MK2396E, X Machina Gamer. Oh my gosh. X Machina Gamma, Firehazard 105, Tech Gaming, Slim Jim, Lord Bowser the Second, Joe Left, Stars the Mocha, Liquid Old Dawson, BZ Gamer, Jessica Shepard, Biggest Power, Tiki Tabbies, I Love and Doofus Academy, Karun the Steel Angel, Highguard, Low Guard, Yeet the Devil's Out. Devil's out. I said devil's out. High guard, low guard, yeet the devs out guard. That's pretty good. Cyrus 6, everyone doing. True Dexka 940, OMG, you were right. It was E. Wow, you're so smart, Joe. Thank you. Kid Warrior 23, Max the Chef. Totally insane. You're here. Your box of bad dragons toys, Joe. You slut. What? What? Knight of Sapphire, Emerald 04, Wolfman 9, EKW, Sequence Studios, Filmocrack, Ohm Gaming, Treat, Brown, Thornscape, Magnex 7, Evans, Mrs. Bond 3, Scallion, Freaking Wires, Pow Pow, Donnie Weston, Gob Gonson, Rogue Winter 919, Zach Thane, Hangman for Hire, Ellen Noble, Frost Crystal, Biogenesis, Flubby, Mangaski, oh my god, Mangaski, ooh, Manga Key, Scruffy's Go, ooh, Scruffy's Skull, Ghost Ho, where you saw you after Tim, Honor 784, Blue Hook, When in Doubt, Face the Wind, Waking Out, Mr. Techno, Squeak, Jody Petey, Smitty, Green, Smitty, McGavin Testament, Yoga C, Convictions, I American Idiot, Horse Seth, Other Shin, Oh No, Stress and Raid, Retweeting Weeks, 3 Wolf 7, Retro Wannabe. Oh, what? Retro, Westa, JMM, SG, Veg, Groovy Necker, and Alice, Excel, Hasn't, There's No Tooth Fairy, that's it, getting the tutu. Dude, I can't right now. That was horrendous. That was terrible. Wow. Okay, I gotta get it together. Toodles.